This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining in today. Before starting, I would like to give you all few instructions. First is you all can keep your mics mute. Whatever queries you have within this 1.5 hour of time frame, you can type it out in the chat box along with, and I'll answer all of them or pick some general questions at the end of the webinar. And so no worries regarding that. Secondly, you all can also keep your cameras off as well, so that we won't be compromising with the bandwidth in between. Okay, so that is all, and thank you so much for joining in today. uh, Without a further ado, let's get started with the session. Okay, so let me share my screen with you all. Okay, so is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Guys, please type everything in the chat. Do not unmute yourself, please, guys. Okay, so this webinar is all about giving you a glimpse over full stack development, right? What exactly is full stack development, and why we are having this webinar with you today. So, as we all know, that in today's world, almost 90% of the population, almost 90% of the population uses mobile phones, or I should say more than 90% population use mobile phones. The content what they go through currently is only websites, either directly or indirectly. What do I mean by directly or indirectly is you need to search for something. What do? You just Google it out. Google provides you with certain set of links, and that particular link redirect you toward a website only. Another thing is you scroll social media. Anything you find of your interest, maybe it a link of a apparel brand, it can be a link of a blog or anything. That particular link also that you find on social media, maybe it is Instagram or Facebook or anything. That particular link also leads you towards a website at the end. So websites nowadays plays a very crucial part. Why so? Because everything is turning digital right now. This is the best mode to convey information about something to the public, right? And if you have question in your mind whether it is worthy or not to have to dive deep into full stack development, is it worthy to have the knowledge of full stack development or either development in this today's world, then you can keep this question out of your mind, because you are not observing, you are not just listening to what I'm saying, you are observing it by your own. Website can be majorly can be of three kind that right now people go through. It can be a portfolio one, where information about a person or an individual is presented, maybe what domain the person has been working into, what portfolio, what projects the person has into, or the organization, anything related to that particular person mentioned is known as a portfolio website. Moving further, there can be a product based website. Product based website can be something where information regarding a product, service, or anything like that is put over the web page, and public can go through that information and take their decision on their own. Another one can be a e-commerce website. Everyone is aware of it. E-commerce website does trading in a very wide range of products. So just give me a minute. Yeah, okay. Is it really easy to create a website as it seems? No, it is not. From portfolio website to e-commerce website, it takes a lot of work, but it is worthy. You see a website, there's something written over it, some images, there's some part here, anything related to this. If we say that maintaining a website or its appearance, if we say that someone has done with the appearance part of the website, how does it look? He or she is done with the full website creation, then it is wrong. A website is said to be done completely only and only if it is providing its user a seamless, fluent experience as well as it is managing the request of its client. So here comes the main part. This is what I've told you till now is it worthy to have the knowledge of full stack development? So yes, it is very much useful, not just for the sake of the knowledge, but also if you want to build your career around it, then also it is very much useful because currently it is in booming state, and for the upcoming future it will always be in booming state as everything is digitalizing nowadays. So where were we? Yeah, the part that takes care of the appearance of the website is known as front end, and the part that manages it appropriately is known as back end. Now, what exactly is front end and what is back end? When you see some content over the website, front end takes care of the content, layout, appearance, of course, functionality. When this much is done in a website, it is said to be a front end development. Now, what is backend? We've been hearing this word from past 5 minutes. And what exactly is backend? Backend deals with the server and database. Database has all your data of the website is stored in the database. And now, what is server? When client request, when you go over a website, you search for something. First of all, server validates your request. If it's validated by a server, then only it will fetch data from the database and provide it to the client. When you look for a product and your product seems to be unavailable, that is because the server does not find the valid information into the database, and it responds that nothing is found. And if your anything of your interest is found within the website, it validates that information, fetch the data from database and retrieve back to the client. This is how all the functioning takes place in a website. So now you're aware what is front end, what is back end. Front end deals with the client side, that is this part. Back end deals with the server side, that is this part. What about full stack development? Full stack comprises of front end as well as back end. So in this course, you will not only be starting about the front end, but also back end as well as database. That is all full stack development about. Guys, if you have any doubt, you can type it out in the chat box. As I already mentioned, I will pick your queries at the end of the session. Okay. Now moving forward, how one can learn the full stack development. Full stack can be learned in two ways. First one is learn. Second one is mean. Now, what is MERN and what is mean? MERN stands for, there's acronym for each and every letter here. M stands for MongoDB. Don't worry, I'll explain. I'll give you a basic touch of what exactly is MERN and mean, what is Mongo, and for the technologies I'm going to talk about. Second one is Express. Third is React. And fourth is Node. Now you can observe that in mean, everything is same, rest is same except for this A. So yes, A stands for Angular, remain everything is same in mean as well. To learn full stack development, one needs to catch up on these four technologies majorly. First one is MongoDB, then Express, then React, and then Node. Similarly, in mean, one needs to acknowledge what is MongoDB, what is Express, what is Angular in case of mean, and what is Node at last. The course which we will be providing you will be MERN Stack. Now, why we are teaching you MERN, not mean? What is the reason behind? That too, I'm gonna tell you in 5 minutes. Okay. First of all, what is MongoDB here? As I told you, to maintain the database, to manage the website, you have to have a database which can contain all its data in it. So exactly, MongoDB is our database that we are using. Why MongoDB? Why we are not using NoSQL and MySQL or PostgreSQL? Because it is comparatively easy, and again, it is very beginner friendly. So now what MongoDB is, it is the database that keeps each and every piece of information stored. But as the client can access the information from the database, what is database exactly in our traditional times, in our if we not go through very much in the past, then also the traditional way of keeping the information is it files only, right? There is a file, physical file, in which a certain piece of important information is kept. And for example, think of an office. There is a room In that room, each and every piece of information, every important file regarding the organization is kept, and the room is locked with a key. What happens if that key is stolen by someone, by a person who can misuse it? Then each and every important or confidential piece of information will be in hands of someone who can mislead with this. So for that, we need to keep that key very securely. Similarly, in this case, client can have the access of the information through database. That is why came into servers role came into play. Servers, what do servers do? Servers validate the request from the clients and then pass it over to the database, fetch the data required by the client and retrieve it back to the client. That is why servers are necessary. MongoDB is our database in Moon. M stands for MongoDB, and I've told you what exactly is database in a very basic term. Now, what is Express? To make Express is a web application framework for backend used for building web application and APIs. APIs stands for application programming interface. What is the use of API? Basically, you can consider them the service request. Here's the client. Here's the server. Client asks for information. They pass it over to the server. Server validates. Server retrieves back to the API, and then it provides the information back to the client. So this part, Express manages our backend. It is a framework. Express is a framework that is used for backend for building our web application. In MERN, these three technologies we use for our backend purpose, and this one is useful for our front end, and consecutively they give us a full-fledged working website. Okay. I will talk about React after Node. Let us know what is Node exactly. Node is the runtime that we are using, right? There are certain with this stands for JavaScript. JavaScript is a programming language, and please don't worry, guys, if you are not from IT background, if you don't know how to code, if you don't know what programming is, you in this course you'll be uh, starting each and everything from very scratch. The softwares you need to download, documentation, each and everything will be uh, we will tell you each and everything about, even if what the software is, what is the application you need to know, everything will be told. So don't worry about whether you don't know these terminologies. This webinar is basically to give you a glimpse so that you get aware of what is full stack development, how important and how beneficial it is to have this skill with you in today's world. The two ways by which a person can learn the full stack development, and why we are opting MERN, the course which we will be providing you, why we are opting MERN. Now you see, till now we have covered these two parts. Here I told you what is MongoDB, what is Express, so that you will be this much prepared when you enroll for the course, when you get to know about when you start learning about the technologies, you will not be all blind there. You have certain knowledge that yes, what exactly what you are learning, you are already aware of what is your current level, and what level you need to reach in these few time span. Okay. React, I will mention it at the end. Now talking about Node. JavaScript is programming language. JavaScript has its own restrictions. JavaScript is restricted to access the underlying operating system APIs and file system. Henceforth, Node.js came into play. What Node.js does? Node.js is built on C++. It is built on C++. So it has the ability for the functioning of JavaScript engine. There is an engine, there is a runtime, right? JavaScript cannot interact with our operating systems APIs and file system, but Node.js can, as it is built on C++. So Node.js will interact with this operating systems APIs and file systems and provide us with the information. Node and Express together make our server. Okay. So in MERN, you're aware of M, you are aware of E, you are aware of N. Now the main thing, what is React and why we are opting React, why you should go for React but not for Angular. First of all, we cannot say that React is supreme than Angular or Angular is supreme than React, because it totally depends on the use case. It totally depends what kind of project you have been provided with your firm, what you want to achieve with that particular technology. On that very basis, you decide your language. Some of the basic difference between React and Angular, by which you will have a clear idea that why is it good to go with React at first, and when once you're comfortable with React, you can always opt with Angular in future. First of all, what is React? React is a JavaScript library. Okay, that is used for front-end web development. And what is Angular? Angular is our MVC, full-fledged MVC framework used for front-end web development. MVC stands for Model View Controller, right? React is our JavaScript library. Angular is a framework. Now, who developed React? It is developed by Facebook. Such big communities are there who build these massive technologies. Then, of course, there were when there is a need of website, then there always a need of someone who creates those websites, who manages those websites. Then thinking that will there be any use of learning this technology? Will there be any job opportunities after learning this, after having this skill? Then yes, totally 110% there are. I will come to this also after clarifying this, to give you the basic difference between what React is, what Angular is, and why we are going with React as of now. First of all, React is a JavaScript library that we use for front-end web development. It is built by Facebook, and Angular is built by Google. The changes that we keep on seeing, the updates that we keep on seeing in these technologies, the changes are updated time to time by the developers of the communities, timely, that we observe in the technologies. React is when you have been provided with a project, you write a code for that. There is a code, and after completion of code, you don't directly make it public or give it to the client. No, you don't. First of all, you test for the code, and if there are any bugs found, then you debug it, and then you test it again. And now if there are no bugs present, then only you make it public or you provide it to your client. So for this testing and debugging part in React, we have set of tools for different testing. For a complete project. Okay, that is, you have set of tools, you test at different levels, and you get output for that testing. Okay, in React you have set of tools for different testings for a complete project. But in case of Angular, what you have is a single tool for complete testing for a complete project. And this can be cumbersome. Why? Because when you start your testing, and there's a single tool, I'm really sorry, it's tool, not tools. Yeah. There is a single tool. That tool give you the output for the complete testing from the very beginning to the end. The output you get is collective, and for a beginner it can be confusing because it is a bloated output, right? And you just stepped into the development phase, you don't know, you think that yeah, I need to test this part of the code, and you run the tool, but you get that bloated output here. You get confused that it is for what part the output has been given by the tool. That is why it is really not recommended. Other than this, it is totally dependent on the individual, if he or she is comfortable with Angular, if he or she has basic knowledge. And as we have already seen that the remaining three environments in both the technologies are same, in both the technologies. And if you're opting one before me, you're aware of the environment before facing the hurdle. Okay, that is why it is suggested to go with React because it is beginner friendly. Whereas in case of Angular, its features, it is not bad to go with Angular. It's just that uh, its features can be confusing for beginners. That is why it is always suggested to go with React in the initial phase of web development. And once you get comfortable with everything with REST-free technologies and of course with front end, then you can always upgrade yourself. For example, you have what should I say? Yeah. For example, you have applied in company. That company uses Angular. That company is not using React, but they know that you know React. They give you a time frame of 1.5 months. They'll teach you Angular, and in that framework, you find it very easy to learn that particular technologies because you're already aware of full stack development. You're already aware of uh, you're already aware of these key technologies and front end as well. So the basic difference we have gone through is what is React, what is Angular, who developed them, in how does testing and debugging takes place in both of these technologies. Second is data binding. In React, there is two-way data binding. Whether in Angular we have one-way data binding. What does two-way data binding means? It means in your UI, in two-way data binding, any changes made in the user interface needs to be updated in model state, in corresponding model state. Any changes that we have made in our user interface needs to be updated in our corresponding model state. Then only those changes will be reflected appropriately. In one-way data binding, changes that you have made in your user interface automatically gets updated in your model state. That is the difference between one-way and two-way data binding. Why you when you should use React whenever, as in the very beginning I told you that a portfolio website, a product-based website, or a e-commerce website. If you want to build such kind of web applications as well as a simple web application that I've mentioned in the beginning, as well as native application for iOS and Android, then you can always go with React. But if you want to build a large scale, full-fledged, rich featured application, then you can opt Angular. Okay. So this is there anything I'm left with? I have told you the use cases where you can. Yeah, one more very important thing: libraries, third-party libraries. React favors third-party libraries. You can integrate third-party libraries with the help of React in React, but it is difficult to integrate third-party libraries in Angular. That is also a major, concern of using React but not Angular when you are learning full stack development. Pros of using React: it is easy to launch. You can easily launch your application. If you need a fast application, you can always go with React. Secondly, it has faster development. Third, code stability is provided by React. And yes, two-way data mining. And last but not least, third-party libraries integration is provided in React. So that is why it is always feasible to go with React in the beginning stage of full stack development. Angular can be a bit confusing because upgrading. I'm really sorry, guys. Upgrading from older versions to newer ones is even difficult in Angular. Other than this, third party integration is difficult. Secondly, page embedding is slow, and all these features makes it confusing for a beginner to learn full stack development. That is why it is always suggested to have React at the very first place. And yes, React is very much popular nowadays than Angular. Like for me, if I compare how one can have the job opportunities, the job opportunities are directly proportional to the popularity, right? The more popular the technology is, the more will be job opportunities in the market. In the market, we have front end, we have back end, and then there is a need of full stack developer. Full stack developer is someone who is managing, who is not just creating the website but also managing it. So why not hire someone who can perform two tasks simultaneously, comparatively of hiring two different persons for two different domains. There's always a high demand of job opportunities for full stack developer, and there always be. React is very much popular. The GitHub contributors for React are more than double of what they have for Angular. Not just the contributors, GitHub contributors, but as well as GitHub stars that has been given to React are also more than double what they have for Angular. And companies from startup to FAANG, from startup to FAANG companies are in the need of full stack developer, are in the need of stack developer. Companies who are currently using React are, first of all, Facebook, then our Instagram, then what is this? Yeah, Netflix and Airbnb. Major companies like these are using React. Startups are using React. Why won't there be a job opportunity for you when you learn a skill of full stack development? Every year, if we talk about job vacancies, every year more than 18 18,000 job vacancies are there for a full stack developer, and that too a Burn stack, because currently Burn stack is in booming state, and it will be at least for some time. Salary package, if we talk about salary, average salary of a full stack developer ranges between $85 to $125. That is what a full stack developer is earning. And if we talk about starting salary package in basic companies in India only, the starting package of a full stack developer is 7 LPA, at least 7 LPA or more than that. It minimum salary package of a full stack developer is 7 LPA, regardless of your what branch you're coming from, whether it is IT or not. If you have the skill of development, you can always go for full stack uh, job opportunities. Okay, so till now I have covered what is full stack web development, what are the two ways, and why we are going with one, why we are opting React but not Angular, what are the job opportunities in the market, popularity of the technology. You can Google it out right away how popular is React, and as well as it is very much popular, it is easy to work with, it is beginner friendly, it provides you you know third party library integration. What is the salary package, companies using React? That is all we have covered till now. Now, what is the course content? That is the basic glimpse of what is full stack development and the perimeter which everyone is concerned about before learning that technology, because nowadays people uh, has lost their jobs, so it is always people always think that we are not doing acquiring any knowledge because for the sake of the knowledge, but also building a career around that. So you can always give it a shot to become or to learn full stack development. Next thing I want to show you all is the course content. If you enroll for the course for the Mongodb developer, full stack Mongodb development, what contents you will be knowing in that. Okay, this is the course content. HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You will be learning these. Then we will learn what is JavaScript, what is the core functionality of JavaScript, then functional nature. As I mentioned, that is that to give user a seamless experience, your websites needs to be properly functioning. For that, we will be looking more into what JavaScript is, what is its functional nature, what is JSX. JSX is basically in Angular. Yeah, one more thing. In Angular, TypeScript that is used. Okay, is JavaScript plus HTML. In React, we use JSX because JSX stands for JavaScript XML. Okay, next, what is MongoDB? Then we will be knowing Node.js. MongoDB is our database. This all till here is the part of our front end. Initially, at the initial phase, we will we will be starting with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and not just this. There's a major project in it, and there's not only a single project, but 10 to 12 projects as well in this course. These projects will make your basics to make your basics stronger. We will be making, we will be building 10 to 12 projects for these technologies as well. For example, portfolio website creation will be there. Okay, after I will tell you this after completing this phase. MongoDB is our database, and this part, this is our backend. So that's how we will complete our full stack development course. That is including front end, our database, our backend. In HTML, we will be learning how to handle forms, right? Like for the registration of this webinar, you have filled a form. So what the forms are doing? Form are collecting your information. Form, why organizations let people fill the forms? Because they are collecting the data, and that data is stored somewhere. So how to handle those forms, we will be knowing that in HTML. We will be knowing what DOM is. DOM stands for documented object model. Now in CSS, there will be selectors. Selectors will be there. Flexbox, diving into basics, how to position elements in CSS, how to implement animation into a portfolio website. That all we will be learning in CSS part. And JavaScript, what are the prototypes, what is async nature, what are events, and many more things will be there. As I told you that we will dive deep in core of JavaScript. We will be learning functional nature of JavaScript, and there are projects along wise also clarify and to make your basics stronger along with the documentation. Okay, then MongoDB will is our database. After that, in Node, in MongoDB, you know how transactions and implementing transaction in our project. We will be learning this through MongoDB. In Node.js, uh, Node.js is yeah, I think I have mentioned that Node.js is built on C++, and it has ability to access the underlying operating system, APIs, and file system. And Node.js and Express build our servers all together. That is what we will be learning. Request and response mechanism in Express, how what are the some Express concepts, what is middleware, why it is important, introduction to server side validations, validator and its uses, error. Yeah, handling error is very much important. We will also be looking into handling error in introduction to Express part. There is much more. Then we will be building our full-fledged e-commerce application and many more things. So this will be our backend, this will be our front end, and consecutively, this all content will lead towards a course completion of full stack web development, right? Yes, there will be projects as well, like we will be building a portfolio website and a blog application will be there to clarify the concepts, to make your concepts a bit more stronger. Side by side projects will be there as well. And yeah, this is all for the course content. Here we are done with the, or we should say, burn stack. Okay, and yeah, the course duration will be of 3+1, that is 4 months. And in the last month, placement assistance will be provided to you. Resume discussion will be there. If you have any queries, that will also be sorted out. This is whole will be the concept. And yeah, that is all for the webinar today. Thank you so much for joining. And now let me take your queries. Someone has asked what is the difference between product and e-commerce website. Actually, Ratish, it is product. What do I mean by product website is that where companies, for example, you search for Apple website, or you went to HP or Intel website, or anything, any apparel brand. That particular brand or that particular organization is providing with their products and their information to public when you purchase something, right? And there is a product page of the particular website. The product information along with its details, its dimension, or anything related to relevant to the particular product or service is mentioned over the website. That is what a product. That is what I meant by product website. E-commerce website is something where what is like our Flipkart, Amazon. This is our e-commerce website where trading happens in a very large scale, where trading happens in a very large scale in a very wide range of products. It is not specific to a particular niche. Very wide range of products are present on the e-commerce website and trading transactions happen there. That is what an e-commerce website is. Both are same as I am front end developer. As you are a front end developer, then you are sure about that, yes, it's not maybe, it's for sure React is higher for what is, yeah, demand is higher for React. And I already mentioned some points why it is in demand. Next is what is MongoDB and what is the use of it. Madhu, MongoDB is the database. Every information, every information stored in the database only, and it is used as you need something to store, right? When you have forms, for example, you want your customer, your user to have an account in that particular website. They need to register themselves. They are mentioning their email IDs, they're mentioning their uh, phone numbers, they're mentioning their name details, phone numbers, anything like that. That information is need to store somewhere, and somewhere very securely. That is where MongoDB or database came into play. They stored the information, and by joining with servers, the information is first validated, and then if it's validated request, then only MongoDB or our database provides the server with the information, and then it is provided further to the client. Achal, for e-certificate, you can ask for the concerned authorities will reach out to you and will provide you with the information. No worries with that. Anything else, guys? Any other doubt you have? Please type it out. Achal, you will receive the certificate by mail. Don't worry for the certificate. You'll receive it on your mail ID. Ratish, you can go for SQL or you can MongoDB or PostgreSQL. MongoDB is preferred because it is quite easy. The syntax is quite easy. So you can opt with MongoDB, and if you enroll for the course, MongoDB and everything related to that will be told to you. We are offering MongoDB because it is quite easy to understand, and beginners who are stepping into full stack web development can easily grab the knowledge. Otherwise, it's totally, as I mentioned, no technology is supreme than other. It is totally depend on the use case. It is totally dependent on the use case, what you need to do with that. That is all. Okay, guys, anything else? Or I'll be ending the webinar in 2 minutes if there are no more queries here. Those who want to leave can leave the session. Anyway, it is going to end in 2 minutes. If someone has doubt, they can uh, type it out in the chat box. Thank you so much, Animesh. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining in today. Um, the webinar has ended here. Thank you all. Thank you very much. You all can leave. Thank you. Thank you, Parul.